Hi, my loves. How's it going? How you guys doing? Wow, this is so zoomed in. Welcome to another video, and today's video is going to be my makeup inventory post. It is actually very delayed, considering I did film it right at the end of December, and I just never got around to actually posting this. I was supposed to post it in January, and it just never happened. But we're finally here at this point, and I feel like I need to apologize for a few things. So the first thing I need to apologize for is the quality in audio. Unfortunately, not all the clips ended up recording audio properly, and the ones that some of them that did, you can't hear it at all. So I had to go back over all of those clips and to kind of like re-record over it. So there is that. And the other thing I need to apologize for is the quality in terms of getting a photo video of everything that I actually currently own or owned at the start of the year. So it's not the best. I think part of that is just down to the fact that I get very overwhelmed very easily with my collection, especially when I have to deal with like a full category outside, like taking it out and dealing with it. Some categories I've done really well in terms of like reducing what I have for them, and they're very manageable for me now because there's only like a handful of items. But there's other categories that you'll see as like you see the video that are like freaking insane, and it can be extremely difficult to like hold on to those items but also like manage them and like do all of that sort of stuff. And I'm not even 5 foot, so maybe just about scraping 5 foot if I'm being honest, and it can be difficult to try to like get a shot of everything or like find a place in my room to get a shot of everything. So that's again something I feel like I need to apologize for. Hopefully next year I can do a little bit better with this. But again, not gonna hold myself to any standards because boy am I lacking. But yeah, I just feel like I need to apologize for those things. But then I feel like I also need to mention that the reason why I have such a large collection is because I used shopping as a coping mechanism. So a lot of times when I was really struggling, well, actually all the time when I was really struggling with mental health, no matter what it was, I would go to shopping and it would not help when there was sales everywhere because I see a sale, I'm just like, oh my god, I need that because that's such a good price. Not realizing actually I'm probably not going to get use out of it, and I'm probably not going to really like it or need it when I am thinking clearly. And in fact, it's not going to be saving me any money. It's going to be me wasting money on stuff that I don't really need. So yeah, we are in this situation because of those bad decisions, and I'm at a point in life where I'm really trying to break away from those habits because I need to get out of my debt. Because one of the side effects of a shopping addiction is inevitably debt. And that's where I am today. So far, I've done so well this year that I've not even bothered replacing any of my replacement items that I need, even though I know that I really need those. And since the start of January, I've not spent a single penny on any makeup products. So for me, that's actually quite big. Um, because I've not actually really thought about makeup that much either. Like I've really just been digging the makeup that I currently have and just like being able to use it and getting as much use out of my own collection as I can, and just like getting things used up and done and moved out. That's been really nice to sort of see. Um, but yeah, like I think those are the main sort of things I needed to also share. Also, I mean I've had since the start of the year to like film all these videos again, but I didn't want to do that because I declutter at random times. Like whenever my mind is feeling a little bit more like calmer and I'm feeling a lot more like detached, I will then end up decluttering makeup. And I wanted to just make sure that I got all the numbers correct. I wanted to make sure that I was able to like show you guys all the items properly. Well, for some of them, it's going to be really hard for me to show you properly, but like with some of the others, like I really wanted to just be able to showcase you guys everything that I could. So yeah, like I forgot what I was trying to say, but that was one of the other reasons I didn't really bother like re-filming any of these clips, though I could have, but I just didn't. Hopefully next year though I can do better by you guys and I'll really try. But I think that's enough said, so I guess let's just get into the video.
So with brows, I managed to cut the category in half. Last year it had six. This year I had three, and I didn't actually use up all three of the products last year, but then there was one or two that I think I did end up decluttering. So I had things come in and out. But yeah, the main thing is I have actually used up three products, and that's put me nicely at the figure of three. I have a brow gel in like a tube format. I have like a brow Reese type of product from Miss Maya, which is a little round thing, and then a Benefit Brow Pencil as well. So these are the three products that I have for now. And I think those are three products that I would typically sort of gravitate towards. I do need to make a replacement very soon though with two products from this category. And that is something that I'm all very aware of. But like three is actually pretty decent. I don't really mind up to like five because I feel like there's different types of brow products. They kind of do slightly different things. And they can be used in different ways, but also like a brow gel, like a clear brow gel that's like in a tube situation, that's usually what I'd gravitate towards if I needed to like be very quick with my brow situation and like just be out the door. Whereas if I have a little bit more time and I can play around with my brows, then it's definitely more of like a proper black potted gel product. But three in this category is really not that bad.
Okay, onto my primer inventory in January 2025. I had nine, and I'm starting the year off with nine as well, which is a bit crazy to me if you think about it. But I did get quite a few primers recently, which I wasn't really expecting. So to start off with the other three that I'm using. These are both face primers. I use this one under my eyes or if my skin is very, very dry. And I'm using this Power Grip primer from e.l.f. And I'm trying to use up all my e.l.f. products because I don't really want to buy from the brand anymore. One, the products expire way too quickly. So even if I bought something maybe like a month or so ago and I don't use it and I don't open the product for like a month or two afterwards and I went to go ahead and use it, it expired. One of them was a concealer, another one was an under eye color corrector, and there was I think two or three other products which has happened to me repeatedly. And honestly, I just don't give a flying rat's ass anymore, and I just don't want to bother spending money on brands that are also controversial. And the whole Matt Rife thing, that just really rubbed me off the wrong way. And there's I feel like so many other things as well, but that's just what I can remember right now. This is my eye primer that I'm currently using. This is the Tone Activator Primer from Kaleidos. This is the second one I've used of that, and I'm almost done. And I've got a big, like, elbow in here again. I really don't think this will last me that long. I think I could be done with this in January, which I'm absolutely fine with. I think it's probably about down here. Again, I don't really mind that. But I am looking for a good and better eye primer. So if you guys have any suggestions for those of us who have like really oily eyelids, please let me know because my unfortunately a lot of times when I'm wearing eyeshadow it creases up really badly, especially on like the inner side of my eyes, and I don't like that. Imagine like the amount of weddings I've gone to this year and this happened to me so many times. It's just been so jarring. These two here, they're basically gonna be considered as eye primers. So this is actually like a glittery slash shimmery primer situation from Cleona, and then this is an eyeshadow from Made on Mitchell. This is the shade Nudie, and I thought this could potentially work as a eyeshadow primer. This kind of giving me the same vibes as like MAC, you know, the painterly pot situations. It's kind of giving me the same vibe as that. I'm gonna try this out and we'll see. If not, it's gonna get trashed. But that's so far like these three are the eye primers. Realistically, I only really need two eye primers if I'm being honest. So eventually this will get down. These two are free gift for purchase from the Huda website when I did the cyber sale. When I shopped during her cyber sale, I should say. I got this at that time as well, and I'm actually really looking forward to using that. And apparently, these can that one primer can last you a long time depending on how much you use, and you're not supposed to use too much of it anyway. So I feel like I could get through to Black Friday with all of the primers that I currently own. I got this during like this was like a free gift in the HBT Carnival thing that I did. I think I paid like £15 for the ticket or £5 or something like that. And we got to spin a wheel after you spent so much money in the store. It was not a bad event actually. I can't lie, I was really grateful to have gone. This was part of my Cult Beauty Advent calendar, so I got this I believe on I want to say day 25, but I could be so wrong. And then this I got as a free gift purchase after I spent I think over £80 on the Giorgio Armani like as a brand, and I bought like the Sea perfume, and yeah, I got like a nice little pouch with a few free things. So this is all my primers. I'm hoping that by the end of the year I can use up the majority of these, and even just my main goal is just to get down to like Black Friday without buying anything new. We'll see how that goes, especially when it comes to the eye primer situation. But fingers crossed it works out for me. But yeah, these are all my primers. Nine is still a bit too much, but the good thing is majority of these are sort of new rather than being old stuff, which is one of the things I'm like really worried about. And I've also noticed unfortunately that there's a lot of products, especially like really really old stuff, that's broken me out. So I have been getting rid of those things too. So that is all my primers.
Moving on to my liquid eyeshadows, I had 25 last year, and this year I started off with 19. I haven't used any of these up. I decluttered a couple because they broke, and then I also moved three out of this inventory into my highlighter category because they were more like highlighters really than liquid eyeshadows. But I don't know why I'd initially moved them over into this one, but hey ho. I think last year I got three new ones, and two of them are the bottom left. They're both from LH Cosmetics, and then there's that one with a black cap at the bottom as well. Like the one next to the Colourpop on the left side, I got that new too. Those are the only three that I got. The two on the left I bought, The third one I got as a gift with purchase, the one I'm pointing out now. But other than that, I haven't really bought any other liquid eyeshadows, and I'm kind of glad I haven't. They don't really work for me, and even having 19 is way too much. So over the course of the next couple of years, I'll probably be decluttering a lot of them, I'll be honest. Or I'll be trying to use some of them up as best I can. But I don't really think, and I can't really see myself using any of these up completely. But yeah, even 19 for someone who never used them is a lot.
Onto my actual singles, I had 166 in January 25. I'm now walking in with 270, which actually is a lot if you think about it. All the ones in the center are all actually sold as like singles. I wanted to depot the half magic ones out of that packaging because I'm not really a fan of it, but I don't have anywhere to really depot it. And I kind of want to keep the half magic stuff together. And I should have probably bought the palette as well. I don't know why I didn't. Um, I know I have space in that one empty palette, but I want to leave that for other stuff that I have. If I like depot some more stuff, and I have a feeling there's one other palette that I'm gonna consider depotting very soon. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff here, which I don't mind because it's better that I own singles than I own like more palettes, like actual like items that are sold as like proper palettes. But it's still a lot here, so my goal is going to be to literally just rotate in a bunch of these every single month. So all of these palettes you see, every month I need to use at least one of them. In December I've used one, two, and three, which is great because it's probably the most amount of single palettes I've used in any sort of given month. But every month I want to use at least one of these, and I want to try and rotate through different like shades every time I use them. With the items in the center, I'm pulling out like 3 to 5 items every month that I want to use, and the main reason for that is so I can use them. A lot of the newer stuff I'm not really gonna let go of because I actually like I proper liked it and that's why I wanted. But I do have some things that are quite old. So from this color pop section up to probably about here, it's all kind of older stuff. Um, except for maybe like a couple bits here and there, but a lot of it is like more on the older side. So it would be nice if I every month I sort of rotated in something to use it. I do have quite a few loose pigments in here and they last forever and they will last me forever too, which is not an issue. But I would like to use some of these and just like curate this collection a little bit more. What are the likelihoods of me getting rid of stuff? I don't know because it can go either way. Sometimes I'll get rid of a lot, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm still quite attached to what I have. I'm not completely mad at this category, but I just feel like I need to be a bit more mindful and use more of this. So we'll see what happens by the end of 2026. I'm hoping that even if this expands, which is very likely to happen, whether that's with me depositing shades or buying more singles because I just can't stop. Um, we'll see how big this gets. I don't want to have more than like 500 at any given point. I think once I've reached that point, I am going to have to scrap stuff out um because that's just way too much. But like I'm just under 300, which if I think about it is still quite a lot. But yeah, I've got a whole year to sort of figure out, and I'm sure there's going to be stuff in here that I probably declutter, especially the color pop stuff. There's a few other things in here that I can potentially see me getting rid of if they dry out as well, especially like the cream ones in here. But yeah, this is a lot, and I have it like going completely mad and expanded this inventory by so much. Actually, I don't. The 160, I think, is 166 is incorrect because I don't think I had categorized my Cliona Cosmetics ones in that period because they did not come until January because it just took a lot longer. They had loads of strikes, so I think I had a little bit more. I mean, there's what 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15 shades in that. So I think I had whatever 166 plus 15 is. I can't maths, but I think I had slightly more. But still, I did, even if I don't take that into account, I still added about 100 products in this inventory across the year, which is crazy. It's actually insane.
Moving on to eyeliners, I had 93 at the start of last year, and at the start of this year, I had 74. And of that, I think I only used up two, and everything else was decluttered because they were old and they were really like making my eyes irritable. Again, this is one of those clips where I somehow missed the audio on here. Don't know how I managed to do that. Sound like recording or like doing a voiceover later on. I don't really remember what I was talking about in these clips, so just ignore my hand gestures. But I have a lot of like cream liners from Melt. I have a lot of like eye pencils that I use my waterline, as well as quite a few wet liners from places like Distant Cosmetics. And to be fair, they do make up a large part of my collection. There is a lot here, and over the years, I don't know how I managed to accumulate so many, but I have ended up decluttering a lot. And um, this year, I'm going to focus on a set few that I really want to use up, and I know that I pretty much use all the time, or are the top four that I use. There's usually like an orange, there's like a lilac, the black, like a maroony red, and occasionally like a green. So those are the five that I'm currently trying to use up for this year. I'm also going to try and avoid buying any more until I get to the point where I've used up pretty much all of the colors in my eye pencil situation. When it comes to the gel pots and stuff like that, I'm going to try and avoid buying them because they just dry out so fast. It doesn't really make sense to buy them. And instead, it just makes sense to buy the wet liners. But even then, I have some of these basic colors already. So I don't feel like I need any more. Even 74 is way too much for what I realistically want going forward. So the goal for me is just going to be over the years just to basically reduce what I have bit by bit, and hopefully by the end of this year I can use up a couple. I'm sure a few of these will dry out because it is what it is, and that's typically something that happens. Nothing I can really do about that. But I don't want to bring in too many. And each year I've been trying to bring in less and less. And I found that that's been helpful, as well as obviously doing the declutters of things that I've dried out. I don't really care to revive a lot of stuff. It is what it is. I want it's gone for me. But also because I have really sensitive eyes, I can't really revive a lot of these. So yeah. Here's another clip where my audio wasn't working, but I'm now down to five mascaras. Last year I had nine, and the highest I've ever owned in this category is, I think, 32, which is crazy. I've made a lot of progress over the last several years, and I think part of that has been where I unsubscribed to a lot of beauty boxes, which meant that I was then able to just only really bring in stuff that if I ever got them in like a specific purchase. So if I then decided to buy a curated box from Cult Beauty Look Fantastic, or my advent calendar, or as part of a set, or then if I've intentionally gone ahead and bought the mascaras. All of these that you see are all new ones that I got in 2025. Any mascara I owned prior to 2025 is all used up. And I'm really happy with that because I used to have mascaras that were like a couple of years old, and by the time I got around to using them, they'd or obviously like dried out. But because these are all pretty much brand new mascaras, I'm not that fussed about having five. I think if I had stuff here that was quite like old, I would then be a bit like, oh, okay, no, that's a bit silly for me to own. The two on the left, both from Essence, I bought them from Primark for, I don't remember, maybe £4. So it's not too bad. At the moment, I'm currently using the one that's like purple packaging, and it's working okay, but I have to be more mindful of the mascaras that I buy because not a lot of them work for my lashes, unfortunately. The three minis that you see on the left, sorry, on the right, are all products. The Hourglass one I got from Advent Calendar. The Urban Decay one, which is kind of like sticking up between the two, is the one that I got as like a free gift purchase from Look Fantastic when I ordered something from Urban Decay. And the one on the right, which is the Beautiful one, that was part of a set that I bought. And I have actually used that one before, and it is actually pretty good mascara, and it's pretty affordable, and it's always on some kind of a sale, so it's nice and easy to get. But yeah, these are all the mascaras that I have. Again, I'm not that upset by this. I'm actually pretty happy with this inventory because it's the lowest I've owned in such a long time. But also, all of these mascaras are new, so I'm fine, and I'm pretty sure I'll use up quite a few of these throughout 2026 anyway. Moving on to my foundations, I had some at the start of last year for the start of this year. And to be honest, that's not too bad considering that at one point I think the highest amount I had was 13, including maybe like two or three like mini ones as well. So this, I feel like for me is really, really good. And also I've come to the conclusion that I don't really experiment with that many base products. I do feel like I need two different shades though. I didn't realize that I can actually tan quite easily in the summertime. And for some reason, I only had that realization in the summer of 25. So that shocked me, but here we are. And then I kind of just need one good one for like the winter. So maybe like if I had two, I can use them 6 months. Like use one for 6 months, use the other one for 6 months. Like I think I'll be pretty good. But at the moment, I have got four, and I'm not mad about that. Nottingham, like I said, is the oldest one. That's the one that I was mainly focusing on towards the end of 25 and 2026 as well. And then after that, the oldest would be the NARS one, and that one I've had since October 2024. I do love the NARS one because it's definitely long lasting, but I feel like my skin maybe just isn't as oily as it used to be. So I feel like the times that I have used it in the recent sort of months, I feel like it's a bit too dry on me, which I'm really confused by. I don't know what my skin is going through at the moment. Like it is really oily, but then again, at the same time, it's not. But this foundation I only ever really specifically use during events and stuff like that. So if I know that I need something And that is going to last me several hours. And I am talking 10 plus. I'm usually going to opt for this NARS one because it definitely does hold on for that long. The top two that you see, the Easy Blur from Huda and the Fenty Skin Tint, are both I bought towards the end of 2025. I think, or at least the last half of 2025. So those two I'm not really that fussed with, because I know that I'll be able to get around to them quite soon. The only thing that I have an issue with is how expensive makeup brands are, are like pricing some of the products now. Like as much as I love the NARS one, I'm very nervous about having to make a replacement for that particular foundation. But these are the four that I have for now. I will deal with the replacement part of this when it comes around to that. But I do need a good like skin tint for oily skin that I can get hold of in the UK that will last me in the UK summer, which is honestly disgusting. And if you've ever been in the UK during heated period, you will realize how disgusting it is. I don't know again what I was saying in this like in these clips, but yeah, that is all I have to say about my foundation.
Onto my concealers and color correctors. I was at 4 last year and I'm at 4 now too, but I have used up a lot of the stuff that I had. I have two new products in here and two that I'm currently using up. So this was never actually in this category, but I'd used up my color corrector at the time and I didn't want to buy a new one just yet because I was being a bit of a broke person, which probably was for the best because I ended up finding out this worked really well as a color corrector and I've actually made a lot of progress. So that's the line where I'm at now. And then this one my cousin gave to me too because she just didn't like the concealer and it's not the best color match for me, but because I have it, I might as well like use it and it's working fine at the moment. And I have used a good chunk of this too. So I don't doubt that I'll be finished with these two in the next sort of like first half of the year. I say first half because I feel like I haven't taken the stopper out yet. And if I do that, I'm sure I'll have access to a lot more product than I think is actually in here. And then I bought this one new during Black Friday because I knew that would need another concealer. And to be fair, I didn't even need to buy this because there's always several sales throughout the year, but my mindset was I don't want to then buy something because then I won't pay for the free shipping and then end up buying another product and I don't want to have to do that. Um, and then I just bought it at the time, which obviously that's not the best way to think about things, but yeah. And then I got this as like a free gift from H Beauty Carnival. So I'm hoping that these two can be MTs at some point in this year, and this will obviously last me a good time, and then hopefully this one will also last me some like a decent amount of time, and then I'll see what color correct I want to buy after that point. I know the Huda Beauty one everyone sort of raves about, so yeah, I actually can't wait to use that one up, and I love the NARS concealer, so I'm really happy that I have another replacement for that.
For powders, I had 6 at the start of 25, and now I've managed to get up to 13, which I think is absolutely crazy. And the ones that you see on the left side is the ones that I mainly bought during 25, plus the Laura Mercier one with the white lid. The one with the black lid that was just given to me by my cousin because she didn't really like it. The four other ones, which is the Kaleidos, Charlotte Tilbury, Flower Nose, and Dior one, those all that I've had for some time. This one that I'm picking up now, that's the one my cousin gave me. She'd already used a chunk of this, like about a third of the powder, and then she'd given it to me because did that look too grey on her and she didn't really like it. So she didn't want to bin it because obviously it's an expensive product. And I said, I'll take it from you. But I feel like the formula of that has changed. And from what I remember, it just felt and performed very differently to when I used this powder up a while ago. This Dior one is the one I'm currently trying to pan, and my God, am I annoyed and frustrated with this powder because of the hard pan. In here, though, it does make your skin look beautiful afterwards. It's the hard pan in this product that makes me go crazy. Also, this is a little bit too deep for me. So in the winter times, it just if my foundation's a little bit too light, then this is a nice way to like add a bit of warmth into the skin and stop my foundations from looking really wet. So I do like that for that particular reason. The ones that I bought throughout 2025, I don't know why I bought any of them. Like I don't have a good enough reason, to be fair. The only one that I do not have regrets about is the Artitude Cosmetics one that you sort of see floating around, which has the AC logo on here. And that is because the powder is just so beautiful and it sits so beautifully in the skin. Also, this powder from Dior, I know it looks disgusting. I'm so close to finishing it to where I am now, and I don't even know what I was like talking about. But yeah, I have quite a few from Huda. The one that I'm pointing at now, that's the Kaleidos one. This one I think I've had since 2024, I want to say. If not, it's definitely 2023. It probably is 2023, and I feel like I really need to use up some of those. And as soon as I'm done with that Dior powder, I'm rolling in like as many of these as I can to like just like dash out. The three easy bake ones that you see, that they're not all the same shades, but these are the old formula. I know Huda Beauty since then reformulated this, which if I had known, I would never have gone ahead and repurchased these because I just feel like that was a bit cheeky to do. Um, I feel like they should have been a little bit more transparent, and that's my one gripe that I have with brands. But yeah, I mean, what's done is done. I can't really go back with that. But these are the ones that I have, and hopefully I can reduce this from 13 down to at least 10 by the end of the year.
Okay, another category that seemed to have exploded was the blush category. January 25, I had 103. I now have 109 blushes. I'm so disappointed in myself because I got rid of so many blushes this year, but then I ended up buying so many more. And realistically, it takes forever to use up blushes. Also, one of the main reasons my category jumped by so high is because I bought, I think, over like 15 blushes from Flower Nose. That's a lot. And then I buy like full collections, like from Kaleidos, I bought pretty much the full collection. And then like I do a lot of that sort of stuff. I have loads from Made by Mitchell, but I have been downsizing bit by bit. However, 109 is ridiculous. I did take out one blush and use it as a color corrector, and that's worked really well. However, just by looking at this, I don't even want to put this all on my bed because one, I'm not gonna have the space. Two, I'm at that point, but if I do that, I'm generally gonna just pack all of these up and throw it in the bin, and then I'm gonna regret doing that. So before I crash out, I'm just gonna show you guys like this. This is everything that I own. I'm gonna start also doing a shop my stash so that I can just like start using up these products again and like figure out if I'm gonna keep everything or not. Because there's stuff in here I know I'm not gonna keep. I just need to like perhaps use it once or twice and then I can like move it out of my collection or at least bring it back to the forefront so I can just open it, see it, and then decide if I still want to use it or not. So yeah, sometimes the shop mustache is really useful for that. 109 blushes is way too much. When you have this many blushes, you tend to lose sight of what you truly have, and I think that's my biggest issue here. Okay, so unfortunately, I was talking, but the sound wasn't picking up. So I'm gonna do this again, and I'm gonna do this quite quickly, and I think I'm gonna have to leave it here and do the rest another day. And it's also really dark, so it's hard to sort of see what I have. Um, these are my highlighters. I have 55. Ridiculous, I know. I used to have 45 at the start of January 25, and I jumped up to 10. That is because I have bought some, and then I moved some from another category. So I moved 1, 2, and 3 from my liquid eyeshadows into this category, and then I bought this NARS one, these two Catrice ones, this Flower Nose one, um, this Iconic London one, um, this MAC, and that Fenty Beauty one. And then I got this one as a product as part of my advent calendar from Cult Beauty. So I have a lot here, and there's a load of new ones that came in. Oh, I also bought two from Artitude Cosmetics. So, like I said, there's a lot here that I don't really like, and 55 is way too much. I would realistically like this to be less than 30, but that'll take me a couple of years to get to that point, unless I just one day go crazy and start to declutter everything. Never say never. But yeah, this one that's open. This is the one I'm gonna currently try and pan, and I'm hoping that by the end of 2026 I can use this up. So if you see here, that's that point there. I have actually really flattened that section, and I really feel that if I keep using this, I will definitely expand this pan in a much like very quickly. But it's just one of those things I need to remember to use this along with that highlighter. This is gonna be part of one of my projects. I don't know if I've already released the video or it will come up after this. I don't really remember what my calendar was for this year. But yeah, you'll either have seen that already or you'll yet to see it. And then this one as well is gonna be part of my project plan. So both of those are things I'm really aiming to use up. Obviously, I'll be done with this one a lot faster than I'll be done with that one. And literally, as soon as this one is done, I'm gonna be rolling in one of these Made by Mitchell ones because those are the quick and easy ones I can do, and that's what my goal is going to be.
Moving on to bronzers, I have three now. I had four last year. I think last year I had like a mini one from NARS that I used up, and that's why I've now got three. But the one that I'm currently focusing on is that one from Nabla. And to be fair, like I've made a lot of progress on that. And I think by the time you see this video, that is finished. So I'm left with technically two, but like at the start of the year I had three. However, my issue is the two that I'm left with, which is the Beauty Bay one and the Colourpop one, which is on the right side of the screen. they're both warm toned. They're a little bit too warm for me and my preference because I prefer something a little bit more cool toned. I can't really use contour because like contour just would look a bit too weird on me, but I prefer like a cooler toned bronzer. So I feel like I need to either look through my collection of maybe some eyeshadow palettes that I could potentially try and use as a cool tone bronzer. Um, because these two they would work a lot better for me in the summertime, not right now. But this Nabla one that you're seeing now, that was actually my perfect shade. But the formula I absolutely hated. But this beautiful one I'm holding right now, that is probably the most warmest toned bronzer I have. It's not red leaning, which is good because I hate bronzers that are really red leaning. I definitely prefer something a little bit more cool toned. This is the deepest that I have. In the summer, this would definitely look beautiful, but just for right now, where it's a bit more cooler and I'm a little bit more fairer than what I would definitely be in the summertime. I don't think these are the right shades for me. And tell me why I'm only realizing this in the month of February of 2026. It is what it is. But yeah, bronzers is not that bad. This is a category that I don't really expand that much. This is the one I'm currently using now. because I've used up the Nabla one. But again, like it's a little bit too warm for me and the looks that I'm currently doing. So it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, three is still better than having four. And these are all like fairly new that I've got in the last couple of years. This one I think was maybe from 2023, I think. Possibly 24, but I think 2023 and the Beauty Bay one I got last year. So yeah, not that crazy in this category. Onto face palettes, I had 21 at the start of last year, and this year I had 24. That's a lot for somebody who doesn't really gravitate towards face palettes that often, because I actually prefer to use a single component than a face palette, because in my mind, if I have a face palette, then I feel like I have to use every product in there, especially if it's like a blush and highlighter and then a bronzer. I feel like I need to use that for like the whole thing, whereas my mind just really struggles with being like, it's okay if you just use one item from the face palette, you can use something else that's needed. So yeah, I typically don't really gravitate towards my face palettes. But that being said, tell me why I still have 24, which is insane. I'm currently panning one of these, which is like a little mini elf one. Um, and since the start of the year, I think I mentioned it at the beginning, but I have done a declutter, so I've let go of I think two of these. So that takes me down to like 22, I think. But even that is still quite a lot, especially considering some of these are like palettes that are very tightly pressed in. For instance, the NARS ones and then the Hourglass ones, they last forever anyway because of the type of formula it is, but the way that it's baked. These are beautiful, by the way. And even like the Natasha Denona ones that I have, one on the older side, but like the formula, it would take a long time to use. Same thing with the Charlotte Tilbury one. But I have so many of these types of palettes. I know that it's going to take me forever to use them, but I can't stop shopping them because they look beautiful to me. And since I've discovered the Hourglass ones, I'm just like, oh my God, I need them. Like last year I got two, when realistically even one was more than enough for me because they release very similar palettes each year. And if I was just to use one of those palettes, like it would take me a whole year and then some to use up whole entire palette. So it doesn't really make sense for me to do what I'm doing. But this is one of those categories that I do feel like I need to be a little bit more mindful of. Like I definitely need to have like less than 10 in here. I think even five would be too much for me because I don't typically grab and gravitate towards them. Um, but like if I really do push it, I think maximum I'd really typically want is 10. But I do also want to be able to like completely use up some of these palettes as well. So that is something that I'm trying to just keep in the back of my mind. And I do definitely want to try and pan some of these bigger ones that I have because I think that'd be one a little bit more challenging, but two also it'll be a little bit more fun. So I think that is something that I'll definitely try out in this year as well. But yeah, 24 is too much for me, and I definitely need to get this under 20. This is the one I'm currently panning. Um, Hopefully I can have this done before like mid-year of this year, and then for the rest of the year I can focus on one of the other small ones, and then maybe next year like I can pick up on the other palettes. But I definitely do want to get under 20 in this category if I can. Moving lastly on to lip pencils and the lip categories onwards, I had a 69 at the start of last year, and tell me why I added 20 to my collection, taking me up to 89. Now, this is the most I've ever owned when it comes to lip pencils. Some of these shades are also very similar, and the reason why some of this had like jumped quite high is because I have so many lip pencils from Give Me Glow, and I think I have about 30 plus. And even if I didn't have 30 plus, I still have quite a lot of lip pencils in this category. Anyway, do I need 89? Absolutely not, because I'm really struggling with using up my lip pencils. Though I do love a good lip pencil, I do not think anybody needs 89 unless maybe makeup is like a full-time job that you have to like rotate through, or you need particular shades. But for me, I just have a lot. So when I point this mug out, this is where I keep most of my lip pencils, and these are typically on the older side, and that's what I have in here. That part that you see me pointing towards, that's got the duplicate of the Give Me Glow, because for some of them I did buy two, some of them I did buy three, and there was I think one shade I had four for some reason. And then anything else that was slightly on the newer side that didn't really fit into that little pot. And the four that you see at the bottom are the ones that I'm currently trying to pan and use up. Um, so that's why that's kind of put separately. I could have taken them all out, but I did not want to go through the hassle of like resorting all of this out. So this is why that's really messy. But the fact that I have 89 is actually disgusting and diabolical, because I don't understand how I ended up with additional 20 lip pencils. I know that I bought three to try from one brand and two duplicates of the MAC Rage, because I was really worried that might get discontinued because it is a beautiful shade, but I don't remember anything else that came into my life. So that's a little bit concerning, if I'm being honest. But yeah, 89 is way too much. I really hope I can get this down to at least under 85 by the end of the year, because I don't know how fast I'll really be able to use up lip pencils. And some formulas are definitely not easier to use up than others as well. So I guess stay tuned for that ride.
Onto my lipsticks. January 25, I had 99. I'm now got 122. So number wise, it's not actually that much of an increase. However, I had actually decluttered a lot of lipsticks, and I have bought so many lipsticks in this year, and I bought over 10 into my collection. So I'm not really happy with that. That is literally majority of that happened in the last 2-3 months. And again, like I said, I'm not really happy with the fact that this inventory jumped so high, because my ultimate goal is to have less than 50 in here. Even that is way too much, because I only need like a variety of shades. Like I need one good deep brown, one good medium brown. I need quite a few like cool tone lipsticks in like browns, beiges, and pinks. And then I need like one good, I think I said deep red. If I didn't, I need like one good deep red. And the rest of them, like I don't need that many shades. So 102 is just way too much. I do have one duplicate in here though. Unfortunately, that's the top. Those silver ones that you see at the top, there's one duplicate there which I did need. But unfortunately, anytime I've seemed to like find a product that I deem as like my absolute favorite, or I love it so much, or the shade is just like perfect, for some reason they either the company disappears or the product just gets discontinued, and then I just, it's really sad because now, and then I'm like, oh my god, but it was my favorite color. Like I wanted to keep using it because it was literally the perfect shade. That's why you see 1, 2, 3, 4 of the same one, and it's not just the same packaging. It's this shade is literally the same. And at one point, I think I had 6 of these. I gave one to my cousin. I used one up last year or this year, and then I have 4 left. So yeah, um, that's not a good mindset to get into, but it is just such a shame that when you're using something and then it becomes like your favorite item because the color is just perfect, it then gets discontinued. And most of these are bought from Amazon. So yeah, I think once these are done, I will try and just find a replacement in other companies rather than buying these actual lipsticks. Okay, onto my lip glosses. I had 154 in January 25 and now have 161. It's not the most biggest increase or jump in this collection compared to some of the previous years. However, it's still a jump, and I don't like that. Where they should have gone in the opposite direction, I've ended up increasing how much I have. And honestly, putting all of these on my bed really just is so jarring, and in turn, trying to take a picture of all these is also just as jarring. In 2026, I'm going to heavily focus in on lip products again, especially lip glosses, because I have so much, and that's the largest category of lip products that I own. I also keep all my lip balms as part of my lip gloss category because I kind of feel like they basically are the same thing. Um, okay, formula wise they may not be, but to me, like texture wise and just so many other thing wise, I feel like they're the same thing. So I just categorize them together. I don't really want to have a separate lip oil category. I have a lot of lip oils, but the majority of these are obviously lip glosses. I have quite a few that I'm gonna put in my project pans, and then what I'm gonna do is when I put all of these away, I'm gonna see what I can fit in the drawer because honestly I'm struggling to fit things in there. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take out all the products I'm panning and then take out all the products I would like to pan throughout this year. And then whatever is left over is gonna go in the drawer. Even that is actually a lot, but I don't want to have over 160 glosses ever again. I want less than 150 glosses by the end of this year. And it just depends on if I'm able to use these as much as I would like to use them, and I probably can. Like if I do keep one on my work desk, and then if I do most of my makeup using a lip like gloss or like a lip oil, whatever, I can definitely get through that, and I can use 17 glosses again. But it is going to be a situation where I do need to very much so actively try and grab some of these. Okay, and now onto my lip crayons, which is probably the smallest lipstick category that I have. Yet somehow I managed to expand it. Oh, maybe I haven't. Okay, so in January 25, I had 29. I'm now down to 25. At one point, I was down to, I think, less than 15. But since that point, over the last couple of years, I have sort of added in a few things. I would like to target this particular category just purely for the fact that there is actually not that much, and some of these are very old. All those Colourpop ones that you see, these are the oldest ones in my collection, and then so are these and this. These I got from in 2023. That's from this year. This from this year. These are I think either 24, 23, and these are from this year as well. So I do have a lot in this particular category, and it will take me a couple of years to completely have this down to zero. Um, and I don't even think I need to have a category that says lip crayons, but it just always made sense to me to have like a lip crayon category because that's how I sort of see these. But then technically they are just lipsticks. So yeah, I mean one day I might completely eradicate this and just put whatever's left over, but it has to be less than 5 items into my lipstick category, and even that is like about to explode. But I would like to pan some of these this year. Onto liquid lipsticks, I had 114 in 25, and then in January 26 I have 92, and I didn't actually use up those products. I think I've only just decluttered stuff. I have ended up buying one, two, I think three lip products. One's not in here because it was a duplicate and that was a mistake. So I haven't actually bought that much stuff this year in this particular category, which I'm really happy about. All of these flower nose ones that you're seeing, I bought in 2023, and I really do regret that. And all the Give Me Glow ones that you're seeing with the ones with the black cap that are like laying horizontally are also a lot of the stuff I bought in 2024. So if I hadn't bought those two, or if I hadn't done those two purchases, I would have actually had a lot less in my inventory. But I can't just keep looking at the past. I just got to make sure that I don't make the same mistakes again and again. The fact that I only really bought in three in this category is actually speaks volumes, because that's probably the best, like the lowest amount I've ever bought into this particular category in a long time. Obviously, even those three I didn't need, but I got them. I think one of these was actually a free gift purchase, and that was the one from Half Magic. And then I'd intentionally bought two. One ended up being a mistake, and the other one I realized I didn't need after because I already owned like a black lipstick. Um, or black liquid lipstick, I should say. So yeah, I have a lot in here. My goal is to pan up the Kaleidos one. I'm already using one of the two, and it's like the deep blue ones that you're seeing there. So my goal is to use up one of those, and the Rare Beauty little tiny one that I have on the bottom left of the screen as well. So those are the two that I'm gonna be trying to pan this year. It can be difficult trying to pan between different lip categories. I've got so many glosses, so many liquid lipsticks, so many lipsticks. Then I've got lip crayons and lip pencils and all of that. It's a lot to sort of manage. But I'm trying to hopefully go into 2026 without buying anything.
For setting sprays, I started the year off with 7, last year I had 4. I do have duplicates of the Huda Beauty Easy Bake. The reason for that is because I actually bought one initially myself, and I bought one on Cyber's sale when they did that for Black Friday for like a really big discount. And that mini that's still in the packaging, that's the one that I got as like a free gift when I was at the H Beauty Carnival thing. The oldest of all of these is the one that you see in the middle, which is from Iconic London. Is the one from 2024, I think. Black Friday 2024. And then everything else that you've seen here is all from 2025. So they're not old in that sense. I just have a lot. But then I do go through setting sprays at a fairly quick pace anyway, that I really don't think I'm gonna have an issue with getting this back down to like 4 or maybe even less than that. I do love one good dewy setting spray, one really matte setting spray, and just something that's really long lasting. The Iconic London one I'll just use if I want to add like a little bit of glitter, and a bit of like dewiness to my skin. And other than that, I don't really need anything else, really. But this one I'm loving. This is a really good dewy spray from Studio London. My cousin got me on this, and the peach one smells delicious. And this one that you're seeing here, which is the matte one, is another really good option from the drugstore. But yeah, I have quite a few, but I know I can easily use them up. For someone who doesn't wear lashes that often, I sure do have a lot. Last year I had 26 and now I have 24. So it's nice to see that I've used up a couple of pairs. I think I actually used up a little bit more than that. I used up more than, I think I used up four. And I think I brought in two by accident over the year of 2025, which again is fine because I did at least use up a little bit more than I did bring in. However, I do still own a lot for somebody who doesn't really wear lashes that often. So 26, and I'm only counting the actual packaging, not the individual lashes, because if I did that, I'm pretty sure I'd have close to like 45 or 50 potentially, because some of these have a lot more than others. But yeah, there's a lot in here. I think one is like a set of like individual lashes. Other than that, they're all like proper full lashes. So it is a lot for someone who doesn't wear lashes. However, I have gotten back into wearing them over the last half of 2025 onwards. So it's nice to sort of see them getting used in that sort of sense. But yeah, 24, not the best, but it's a good thing that over the last couple of years I've actually like slowly just chipped away at what I had and I've actually gotten some use out of them. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll use up a couple more of these, especially the individual ones. I might use up the white ones when I do like creative looks for Halloween. But again, it's one of those things that we'll just see close to the time. But regardless, I'm at least happy that I can see a difference in this category compared to some of the others.
That is everything for my makeup inventory. I know it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm crazy. I know I'm insane. But that was everything for this year's inventory. I'll try to do another mid-year inventory where I kind of like share the differences between January and July, or like mid-year whenever I decide to post my videos, and kind of like, I guess we'll get into that later on. But then when I post that video, I'll also try to compare this January compared to last several years, or at least since I've been doing my inventory posts. So you can see the numbers and how each year what I have has like jumped. So that would be something if you guys are like wanting to see that. But I'll definitely try to do that later on this year. But I will only keep it number specific rather than showing you guys what I actually have, because it just doesn't. I can't do this twice a year. It's too much for me to handle. Like I live in a constant state of anxiety and like overwhelm. It just I think this would each would end me if I had to do this like multiple times a year. Like it is what it is. But I hope you guys like this makeup inventory thing anyway, but I'll catch you next week with another video. Bye.